Hello, happy October. This is what we call our grain marketing assistance video for October 2023. From Parks Ag Solutions, I am Erin Parks. The purpose of this video is to talk about what's going on in the markets and what my particular farmers are talking about and some of the topics that are going on in the ag community. And right now, being in October, we could be in a situation where you're finishing up with harvest. Maybe you're almost complete. You've got some commodity in the bin, big corn or soybeans, and you're wondering what to do now. So you've got unpriced grain in the bin and you're wondering, when do I sell that? We're going to talk about a couple of things here that might help you make those decisions to pull the trigger on that particular grain. So let's start out talking about topic number one, which is going to be the spec funds. So as of last week, so we're recording this on October 11th. As of last week, the corn spec fund position was negative. So they were short about 155,000 contracts of corn. Soybeans, they were slightly positive. They were long about 2,387 contracts of soybeans. So what that means is the spec funds, who are not farmers and they are not processors or end users, they're that in between that just buy and sell commodities purely based on profit. And we like to see them buy as much and have a positive position as they can, because buying means that the markets, then they are buying those particular commodities, and that can be a trigger for us price wise to be paying attention on what's going on in our own local market. So we would like to see this number for sure less negative on corn, ideally positive on both corn and soybeans. Number two is going to be RSI, Relative Strength Index. And when I was putting this together, the corn number was at 49 strength index and soybeans were at 33. Ideally, we would like to see that number at 70. And the way this market's structured right now, my opinion, and that's kind of what this is, my opinion is it's going to take something more than what we know today to get us to 70. So if I was in your shoes, I would probably use a number 60 plus. So that would be a trigger for me, is that if the RSI on corn got to over 60 and if the RSI over soybeans got to over 60. And relative strength is the strength in the market. So usually what we see is higher highs for the day. So as we're going through the marketing days, we continue to push a little bit higher, not only of the high of the day, but also the low of the day works itself higher as well. So we've got spec funds. We like to be them very positive. And then we have the RSI when we would like to see them over 60. Next is like what month that you should sell in. And in general, when we have big carries like we're looking at right now, it is usually advantageous to forward sell. So right now we're in October. So it's advantageous to forward sell then into a forward month. So December, January, February. And I'm actually going to pull up the prices. So let me pull this up. Okay. So what we have here is going to be December corn is trading at 485 3/4. March is trading at 501. May is at 509 1/2. See how those continue to increase as we go through to further out months. Same way with the soybeans. November beans, 1265. January, 1283 and 3/4. March is at 1296. So again, the further out months have a higher value than where we're at today. So if you're in October, again, maybe you want to look at selling the March at 501 as opposed to the 485. Or in soybeans, maybe you want to look at selling the March at 1296 as opposed to the January at 1283 and 3/4. Also, too, not only can you be able to capture the better price that we were just talking about on the Chicago Board of Trade, but it's possible that you could also get a better basis. So let me close this. So yeah, not only could you get a better price on the Chicago Board of Trade, but you could get a better basis. So by avoiding spot delivery, so just looking at our current market right now on soybeans, seeing a local basis about 40 under. But if you go to January, it is going to be like 20 to 22 under. So, and it's the same way on corn. Local basis is anywhere from that 30 to 35 under for spot delivery. When you go to January, it's also at 22, that 20 to 22 under. So not only you capturing those better prices that we were looking at on the board, you could capture also too the better basis. So what it boils down to is if you can avoid spot delivery and be forward pricing, even if it's a month or two in advance, you don't have to go 6 months. You can just go a couple months and be able to capture some of that. So spec funds, we want them to be buyers, not sellers. And RSI, we want them to be something 60 or better. And then we want to be looking at those forward out months. I am going to call this one 3B because it kind of depends on where you are. But in general, in this particular market environment, it can be advantageous to expand where you sell to. Because we can see some highly variable basis just by your location. If all you have is a river market and we've got river issues and it looks like that continue, at least probably for the rest of this month of October, maybe you start looking at some interior places or feeders or maybe a soybean user or a corn user that's, turning that into feed or something along those lines. So just for like an example, I was looking at about a 60-mile radius around here, and I was seeing December corn ranging from 13 under basis all the way up to 4 under basis. So yes, the basis was still under, but it is much better. And then on soybeans, it was even more dramatic. I was seeing as high as like a +3, +5 to down to almost a down 30. So in these basis deliveries is like January, February. So keep that in mind. This is not like your local spot market right now. This is going to be like January, I call it December, January. So we could see this wide variety, wide variability in the basis. And so maybe you normally sell within like 30 miles. Maybe you need to expand that and go, 50 miles. Is there a place you haven't really talked to in the last 5 or 6 years? Is there a merchandiser you haven't really reached out to in the last 5 or 6 years? And maybe you do that this year to make that radius bigger to try to get that better basis. So spec funds, RSI, forward pricing, and expanding your delivery. So hopefully this gives you some things to think about as you start to think about marketing that grain that's in the bin. And if you have any questions and would like to have a conversation with me, I would love to have a conversation with you. So leave a note below and we'll be in touch. Thanks for watching. Bye.